Hey everybody, DeathsStalker here. So I thought I'd tell you something else that happened to me over the course of the winter. And that is how I almost died from a Christmas tree. Now it's kind of weird, but I'll give you the whole story. So every winter, usually about the 1st of December, my wife and I go out to a Christmas tree farm to murder a tree in the name of the baby Jeebus, as Jeremy Clarkson would say. And, you know, as usual, we went out. Now, the two of us are actually pretty good. We're not the ones that sit there and hum and haw about various trees, because we know they're going to be all covered with ornaments and whatnot, and every tree has a bad side, and you just turn that to the wall. So the reason we cut our own trees is I own an old Victorian style house with a 10-foot ceiling, and if you put a 6-foot tree in the house, my wife prefers to call those shrubs, because it looks like a, you know, a tiny little tree that you'd have like on your mantle or something. So we go to the farm because you can, if you go to the right areas, you can pick out trees. You can get a 15-foot tree if you wanted to, but generally we get something in the you know, the 9-10 foot height, and then we chop it down, trim it, and make it fit to our house, and it looks pretty good. So we go out with our little saw and cut the tree out. You know, find a tree, cut it down. I think it was actually an all-time record for us. It was like around, I think from the time we actually pulled into the farm to the time we were like driving out was like 5 minutes. And threw it in the back of the trailer. My brother-in-law has a trailer, so we just basically borrowed his car and trailer and went out and picked it up and came back. Now, fast forward to the next day, we shake it all off. And then we, you know, trim it to the whatever the correct height is that you need it to be to fit into the tree stand. And I go to pick this thing up. Now, prior to that, all I've done is I've sort of like half drag it along the ground. Like I haven't actually physically picked this tree up by itself. So I'm holding the tree up while my wife's guiding it into the tree stand, and it was heavy. Like, it was stinking heavy. And once I got it into the stand, I went down to tighten everything all up. I got to look at it, and it was between 5 and 6 inches at the base, thick. Now, a normal Christmas tree is going to be somewhere around maybe 4 inches, maybe 4.5 if you're, you know, you're talking a big tree. This thing was way big. Now, the tree farms, what they do is they trim these trees so they always have the proper shape. And I guess this one hadn't been picked for several years and actually gotten quite big. But you don't notice that when you're cutting the thing down. Well, the next day, my back was killing me. Like, it was brutal. So I ended up, you know, you take your Tylenol and stuff, like a bunch of stuff like that, and you know, went to the finally had to break down and go to the chiropractor. Now, I've got back issues from various crashes racing Grand Prix bikes, but you know, generally it's more of a maintenance issue, but this thing was really bad. So I ended up going to see the chiropractor, and he said, "What the heck did you do? Because you are completely messed up." And he worked on me something fierce, and you know, ended up going over me something like back and forth and all that sort of stuff. And he says, "Okay, now you have to ice it, and you know, it might hurt for a bit, but it should feel better. If not, we're gonna have to come again." So I ended up like the next day, it was still brutal. Now, my chiropractor is actually closed on Tuesday, so I couldn't call him back. And I thought, you know what? Like, this is really painful. Like, this was like right between, like, where your shoulder blades are at the lowest part of your back. That's basically where the pain was. It was right across there. And you know, I don't normally go to the doctors, but I phoned my doctors, and surprisingly, I got an appointment that afternoon, so I went in to see her, and you know, she said, like, I know you must be not well, because we don't usually see you unless you're really, really sick. And it's like, yeah, it's. So I ended up. She couldn't figure out, like she said I had a lot of pain. She said, I'm gonna have to go see your chiropractor again and see if he can adjust you again. But I'm also gonna get you an X-ray, because I want to see if maybe you've done something more to your back. And this doctor's office has like an X-ray and a lab and all that sort of stuff in it, so that wasn't a big deal. And she thought, you know, while I'm here, let me just check your blood pressure. Well, I didn't really worry about it, and she checked my blood pressure and goes, whoa, it's kind of high here. And my blood pressure was like 180, I can't remember, it was like 185 or 189 or something like that, over like 120 or something like that, which is really, really bad. That's really high blood pressure. So she said, I'll be back in 5 minutes, we'll check it again, just sort of sit and relax. And she checked it, and it was like 2 points higher. So it's like, okay, we need to get a now it's like, okay, what's going on here? So it's like, and she knows, like, I don't drink, I don't eat, I don't put salt in my food, you know, I don't eat buttered chicken, pig's feet and all that sort of stuff. So it's like, it's not like a situation where my diet is really bizarre, and like, I'm a little bit overweight, but that's okay. You didn't have to bother stopping. So I don't really have the indications that I have high blood pressure. So told me if, like, to go, it got me set up for a whole bunch of tests and whatnot, and she says, if you're still in pain, come back and call again, and we'll come back and have you check me out again. So got all the tests. The chiropractor popped my back, and the funny part about it was I didn't feel the blood pressure pain, because all I felt was the back pain. The back pain was unbelievably painful. So on Friday, I went and saw the chiropractor, and he popped my back in, and it was like, once he did it that time, it's like, ooh, the back didn't hurt anymore. That felt good. Then I felt the blood pressure pain. It was like, OMG, that was bad. So on Monday, I ended up calling the doctor again, because it wasn't getting any better. And she said, okay, well, this is Canadian health system is that there's a test you can do to see if you're having heart attack or having heart damage, but she couldn't order it. You had to go to emergency to get it. So I ended up getting sent to emergency, and the wonderful thing about that is I was actually there for, I think it was about 10 or 12 hours. And when they were checking my blood pressure, it was, I think it was 201 over 135. And apparently I didn't have a heart attack. They said, you just got some high blood pressure. They gave me some sort of a med to sort of ease the pain, but it wasn't really blood pressure med. And then I had to come back on the next day to see my doctor. And she ended up putting me on blood pressure meds. And it's like, this is, by the way, this is all going around Christmas time, so it's like, you know, Christmas shopping, decorating the house, and all that sort of stuff, and traffic, and it's like, not fun. So you know, the end result was it was pretty bad. So then went into the I went and got the blood pressure meds, and they were very powerful. And they give you that, like my house is, you know, with the 10-foot ceilings, like a normal staircase is about 8 or 9 stairs to get up to this, to the you know, a second floor. Mine's 13 because 10-foot ceilings. And with the new blood pressure meds, I couldn't go up 13 steps without my legs burning. So in January, actually, they had to change the meds because apparently it was too high. But now I'm actually on blood pressure meds, which is, you know, kind of surprising, but oh well. And I happened to mention it to my brother after Christmas that, you know, I got blood pressure meds, and he says, oh, I've been on them for like 7 years now. My brother is 8 years younger than me, so like, I was kind of surprised over that. But my brother's always had a bit of a temper, so he's very quick to anger, and so I wouldn't be surprised. I wasn't surprised at him having blood pressure meds, but again, they still have no clue what happened. It's not diet, whatever. So anyways, that's how I spent my Christmas. It's all because of a Christmas tree. And the bugs are out in force right now. So anyways, that's a little story on how a Christmas tree sort of messed me all up. That's who I'm blaming it on. Anyways, DeathsStalker, signing off.